I'm going to share with you how grief can actually be one of the biggest unlocks when it comes to money. I want you to think about, I'm going to go somewhere kind of dark here. I want you to think about somebody that you miss in your life, whether it's like an ex, whether it's like somebody who's no longer with us. And I want you to think about the things that you actually miss about them. And it's weird, and I promise this is connected to money, that the things that we tend to miss about people are like these sensory experiences that are related to them, like the way that they would shift their car into gear, like the way that they would turn their keys in the car, or the way that they closed the dishwasher and the sound it made, or like, the way that they walked through the house or they opened the door, or like, thinking about like the post-it notes that you used to see on the fridge from them. All of these memories that we have of somebody when we miss them, they're visual, they're auditory, they had to do with smell, taste, touch, like they're sensorial experiences. And I tell people all the time, like the thing that, you know, one of the things that got me out of poverty, and that actually there's neuroscience behind this. Now I know with a neuroscience degree, like I understand why this works, is that what we pay attention to in our brain is very much driven by our senses. And there's two different modes of like what decides what's worth paying attention to in our brain. There's bottom up and top down. Bottom up is very instinctual, it's reactive, it's unconscious, and it's driven by the amygdala, which is the fear center of the brain. That's how most of us are operating, especially with our money. Especially with our money. Okay? It's a knee-jerk reaction. We're not consciously thinking of it. We're just trying to get by. And the way to get ahead with our money is by activating this top-down salience network, which is a part of our brain that's in charge of deciding what's worth paying attention to. Bottom up is unconscious, top down is intrinsic. It's goal-oriented. It's motivated by our own like values and things that we choose that are important to us. Now, what does this have to do with the grief thing and the senses thing? The difference between the bottom up and the top down, like how those modes are activated in the brain, the first stop at your top down, which is the one that you want, if you want to get ahead financially, if you want to stop living unconsciously, the first stop on that brain train is the hippocampus, okay? And the hippocampus, for the sake of this video, this is like, there's a little nuance to this, but the hippocampus doesn't know the difference between a lived experience and an imagined reality, right? And so I used to think about I still do this. I very much still do this, just to be totally clear. I think about my goals in terms of like sensory memories. Just like the people you miss, the things that you miss about them are those weird, like, I could never forget like the sounds that, like of somebody's truck that it made when they shift to their car into gear, or like the sound of the dishwasher closing, or the sight of the post-it notes on the fridge. Those are the things that like I miss about somebody. And they probably are, if you think about somebody that you miss too. You could think about like literally like the sound of them walking through the house. It's so weird. Or like the smell of like when you would come home and they were like baking your favorite thing. The top-down salience network is activated by your hippocampus, and then it speaks to the parts of your brain, your temporal lobe, your parietal lobe, and your occipital lobe, which is all sensory parts of the brain. And long story short, I know this video is getting long, is that when you imagine something on a sensory level, it gets this part of the brain to light up and it generates more dopamine in your brain. For the sake of this video, because I know it's getting long, that's what the TLDR is like. If you feel like you can't get ahead financially, it's because you do not have a goal that you can see, that you can smell, that you can taste, that you can feel. Like my dream right now is to become a wife and a mother. And I will like literally, see, it should bring you to tears. I will literally imagine like what the crayons will sound like on the coloring books that my kids will use, and like what the oven will sound like when I open and close it, and what like the color of the apron that I'll wear, or like I imagine it to that level, like the grass in the backyard and what that's gonna feel like on our feet, and like the mud and the play set in the patio and the porch and the decorations, like all of it, dude. Fucking Pinterest board level, like realness. because that's going to get your brain to pay attention to new things in your environment. And those new things for you should be opportunities to make money. The job opportunities, the DoorDash shifts that you can pick up, the barista shifts that you can pick up, like all the other opportunities to make money, like they will grab your attention. Your brain will generate dopamine around these things. Dopamine is what makes us feel rewarded. Dopamine is the molecule of more. It's the thing that gets us to do it again. So if you want to repeat a behavior that you don't like, you need a big, fat, juicy vision attached to that so it can become as rewarding as possible.